You meet them for the first time at a small table, laptops open, coffee's already half drunk. They arrive on time, they speak calmly, they summarize the situation without notes. You feel your shoulders drop a little. Good, you think. This is someone who knows what they're doing. While they're talking, you stop listening as closely as you were a minute earlier. They notice that. For the next few minutes, the meeting moves easily. They set the tone. You nod along. When they suggest a direction, it sounds sensible enough that you don't slow it down with questions. You don't want to be difficult in the first conversation. You leave thinking the same thing twice. That went well, and I trust them. What you don't see is the small decision they make as you pack up. They assume you're aligned, not because you said you were, because you didn't interrupt. The next interaction feels like a continuation. An email arrives written confidently, already halfway into execution. It references things you remember differently, not wrongly, just further along than you thought you'd agreed to. You reread your own replies. They're polite, brief, non-committal in your head, decisive on the page. By the time you're back in the same room together, the shape has changed. They speak with more certainty. You hesitate for the first time. It feels awkward to rewind the conversation back to basics. That moment passed. You remember how solid they seemed at the start, and you hesitate again. Later, you hear how that first meeting was described. They seemed on board. They didn't push back. It felt clear. None of that sounds hostile. None of it sounds wrong, but none of it matches what you thought was happening. Something similar happens outside of work. A first conversation with someone new. They're relaxed, confident, easy to talk to. They tell a story cleanly without stumbling. You decide almost immediately that they're straightforward. You overlook the parts that don't quite fit. When plans start bending in their favor, you assume there must be a reason you're missing. The track was set early, quietly, before there was anything to correct. The mistake isn't that first impressions are inaccurate. It's what you do after you trust them. Once you decide someone is competent, clear, or grounded, you stop checking the edges. You stop marking uncertainty. You let small things slide because they don't feel worth challenging someone like that. And while you're doing that, the other person is filling in the gaps you leave behind. Not maliciously, just efficiently. By the time you notice you're headed somewhere you didn't choose, it feels too late to question the starting point. The first impression has become the foundation. Undoing it now sounds like confusion, or worse, backtracking. What's uncomfortable is realizing where this came from. Not from naivety, not from being fooled, but from a trait you probably trust, your ability to read people quickly and move forward without friction. That same instinct, the one that helps you navigate new situations smoothly, is what locks you onto a path before you realize one was being laid. The first impression didn't mislead you. Trusting it did.